National writers don't think a whole lot of Auburn in 2022. Heck, some local and regional writers and analysts don't think that either. Now, looks like Vegas is in the same boat.
Well, Zach, I actually just finished crushing some chicken farm, and I am freaking ready to rock and roll.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It is a Charlie Tuesday on a Thursday, my friend. And look, folks in the Discord, Locked On Auburn Discord, have been clamoring for this. They've been clamoring for slapping what?
Slap the bet button. Let's go. Let's slap some bets.
The bet button today. Let's go. Let's go. Our friends at Bet Online, they have put out the odds to win the SEC championship for this season.
Yeah.
We ready to jump into this?
Let's do it, man.
I think Auburn's a little disrespected. In this. All right. So, of course, Alabama leads the way, 1-1 odds. Georgia is second, 5-4 odds. You can get Texas A&M at 11-1 odds. Florida and Ole Miss are tied at 33-1 odds. Kentucky and Tennessee are tied at 40-1 odds. LSU, 50-1 odds. And then Auburn and Arkansas are tied at 66-1 odds. I think, this is ridiculous. The fact that Auburn and Arkansas are tied for the same odds in Vegas, I think is extremely disrespectful. Arkansas is a team that Auburn beat in Fayetteville last year. Yes. And Arkansas plays in Jordan-Hare Stadium this year.
Honestly, manhandled them, to be honest. I mean, if we're being frank, kind of manhandled them at their place.
Right. And so the fact of if Arkansas were to win the SEC championship, which these are the odds that we're talking about, they'd have to win in Jordan-Hare Stadium. And I just don't see that happening. I do not see that happening.
No, I'm with you. But, I mean, the thing is, this is not predicting that it's predicting your odds to win the SEC championship. So it doesn't necessarily –
it's not predicting standings or power rankings or anything like that.
It doesn't really predict that they think that Arkansas is going to be better than Auburn. They're actually the same. They have the same betting rank. But what was Arkansas's conference record last year? I think that did they finish higher than Auburn last year in the standings? I got to look it up, but
I think they finished ranked, didn't they?
They have essentially, I mean, if you're just going by that, they have us finishing either 5th or 6th in the West. So as far as betting records go, so that's not good. They were Arkansas was 4-4 in conference. We're 3-5. That's not that big a huge difference, obviously. And we had the head-to-head win. But I mean, where it has us next year. We finished 6th last year. Really, actually, I mean, you could say tied for last in conference last year. So they got us one spot better projected this year, just from a betting standpoint, if that makes sense in the West. They
have us the same because the only other West team behind us is Mississippi State.
Yeah, I mean, we're tied for last. We're projected to be one slot ahead of last place. See what I'm saying? So, that's tough. I mean, that's that is that they don't make those lines with bias. They make those lines to try to make money.
No, there's too much money at stake for them to be emotional.
Too much money at stake for them to be homers. So that's kind of how Vegas sees this thing shaking out. I don't know how it fared last year, but I'm sure they didn't pick LSU to finish last.
Right. So the argument against Auburn, the biggest argument any year, not just this year, just big picture argument, always against Auburn, is why it's such a tough job, is the way the SEC scheduling currently is Auburn has to play Alabama and Georgia every single season.
Every year.
The other team that plays Alabama and Georgia every single season is Tennessee. And Tennessee has better odds to win the SEC championship than Auburn. They're tied with Kentucky at 40-1. And that, to me, seems ridiculous.
Yeah. I think you got to look at it from a conference. You got to look at it from a division standpoint, though.
Sure, I get it.
And Tennessee has a good quarterback coming back. And they're going to be in the second year of their head coach, just like we are. They can be explosive at times on offense, and they basically have them right now tied with Kentucky and behind Florida and Georgia.
Right.
So I think basically they just feel like it's an easier road to get to that championship game from a Tennessee perspective with the rest of their schedule. Because if you look, the teams behind Auburn, 3 of them are in the East. If you look at teams from the betting perspective, 3 of them are in the East. So Tennessee's going to play all 3 of those teams. We only play one team that's projected, I guess, lower from a betting standpoint, Mississippi State, which is kind of shocking because I don't know what all they lost. I think they lost some good offensive linemen, maybe a couple of wide receivers, but I feel like they're going to be pretty much the same team in year 2, or not year 2, but
year 3, right?
Year 3, yeah.
It seems to me that there's this growing assumption that more and more defenses throughout the conference will be able to figure out Mike Leach's offense in year 3.
It's kind of the way it goes typically.
Yeah, I mean, unless you adapt. I mean, that was the whole previous regime's issue. It's like it worked and then it didn't.
Yeah, you'll have that anomaly game, probably kind of like he had against us, where they'll just look like they're unbeatable and everything will click because it's just a weird offense. And
it's kind of like a triple option. I mean, it's boom.
It really is.
Either you prep for it correctly or you don't.
It's the exact opposite of the triple option, but it's the same concept, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's so different. You can't just prep for it that week. It's hard to emulate in practice. And so you're going to get a few opponents every week that do not prepare for it properly, and you catch them off guard. And because once the game starts, it's too late.
If you get them in a bowl game after a bye week or the first game of the year, you can absolutely just punish them. But if you get them from week to week, it can be tricky because it's just so different. So
Charlie 5, message board legend. There is a team in the SEC that I'm still surprised how much love it's getting. It even got love from Vegas. I want to talk about that in a moment, but today's show is brought to you by BetOnline. So if any of these odds fire you up, you can head over to BetOnline on their website. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from your desktop. Super easy website to navigate and get in on the action. Like I said, so I mean, if you love the fact that Auburn is 66-1 or A&M is 11-1, that may be the best value on here. I wouldn't bet on anybody other than Alabama or Georgia personally, but I get it. If you want to roll the dice, there's definitely some options and some arguments to be made. So check it all out at BetOnline, where the game starts. Charlie 5, I'm kind of in the boat of Ole Miss is still getting too much love from everyone.
You nailed it. You nailed the one. I just knew you were about to pick that one.
We're on the same page. It's crazy. Yeah, they're tied for 4th with Florida. Florida
third in the West.
Right. They're tied with Florida's tied for 2nd in the East. And then Ole Miss is 3rd in the West. They're at 33-1. But I mean, they just had a mass exodus of a bunch of dudes where they had arguably their best season ever in program history. And Auburn,
and they got a new quarterback.
Right. Yeah, they lost one of the best quarterbacks they've ever had. And it's just it's odd to me how much love they're getting. And I think Auburn has a better roster than Ole Miss does right now.
That's another team that Auburn, for the most part, manhandled. It was
for sure.
It was at home, I believe. So we do have to go there and play in front of a raucous 65,000 people, or whatever it is that they held. I think they got rid of the metal bleachers, so that's a plus.
They tailgate good, Charlie 5.
They tailgate the best, and you know that what that equates to: hangovers and W's. Not really. Not really. Yeah, I think they're completely overrated. When Corral got hurt against us, they put that kid in. I can't remember his name. He looked completely lost. And I know you can say, "Oh, he's got a whole nother."
You can't judge him.
You can't judge a whole lot of it. But I watched a little bit of the spring game, and you just can't replace Corral. Corral was unbelievable. In my opinion, he was the best quarterback in the draft. I love Matt Corral. I think he was just way better than the credit that he was given. I think he was just unbelievable, and he covered up a lot of the weaknesses of that team. And,
what was better, Matt Corral at Ole Miss or Golden Corral the buffet?
God, Golden Corral's pretty solid, but I'm going to go Matt Corral at Ole Miss.
Okay.
Matt Corral at Ole Miss. I'm more of a Ryan's Steakhouse kind of guy.
Well, you miss out on the chocolate fountain if you go that route. You okay with that?
That's true. And then unlimited soft serve. You kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Do a little mix a little chocolate, and then you got the unlimited toppings and everything. Oh man, now
all those
you're taking me back
too.
You're taking me way back.
Ours closed down here in town, which is a total bummer.
I know. Now it's a new Japanese buffet, and it's spectacular. By the way, just want to throw that out.
Have you been?
I have been. Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think Ole Miss is overrated, and I think Auburn's a better football team than Ole Miss in 2022.
I do too. 100%.
I think Auburn's better than Ole Miss. I think Auburn's better than Mississippi State. I think Auburn's better than Arkansas. And I think the fact that they play LSU at home is huge. Big. And so you just look at this and it's like, I don't think Auburn will be great in 2022.
No.
But I think some teams in the SEC West are vastly overrated. And I think Auburn's a little underrated.
Yeah, you could go. You could easily make an argument for 4-4, 5-3 record based off of just we just walked through the schedule and who we think that we're obviously better than. I could easily see a 5-3 or 4-4 type SEC record based off just if everybody returning
4-4 and also beat Penn State.
Yeah, that's 8. I think that's 8 wins. That's 8 wins.
That'd be 8-4. Yeah.
It's not bad year 2. Not bad. You're moving in the right direction. Just got to have
everybody's projecting for us to be awful. Like, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And then whoever's our quarterback, like if they show promise, they would come back the following season. Virtually our whole offense would come back minus Tank and the offensive line. Like there'd be so much excitement around this program.
We need that.
If that were to happen. Gosh, we need some positive buzz around here.
Big time positive buzz. What's the best value you see in your opinion? Like what if you had to make a bet just to make a bet, obviously take out Alabama and Georgia.
I'm giving like a free $100 to throw down or something like that.
Yeah, like I'm giving you free $100 just to slap something. What are you going to do?
I'd probably go A&M just because it's 11-1. I thought they would be a little bit closer to Georgia. For that number 3 spot, just because I think people will bet on Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But I think anything outside of Bama or Georgia is a huge, huge risk.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Well, I'm going to stick in the East. So I'm going to stick in the East, and I'm trying to decide between Kentucky and Tennessee because I just feel like
a juicy East pick after you're done. And I have a juicy East pick.
And it's neither school.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's not Georgia.
Georgia plays at Kentucky.
Right.
Georgia plays let's see where all they play on the road. They have such a tough. They play at Missouri, at South Carolina. Just tough road environments. At Mississippi State. So like there's not a whole lot of games I feel like they could lose, but Tennessee plays at Georgia. Georgia plays at Kentucky. Maybe there's a world where Kentucky could slide through at 40-1. Heck, they were good last year. They only had, I think there were, what's 3 losses? What would that be? 5-3 or 6-2?
Their quarterback was, CBS had him as like the number 1 pick in the 2023 draft. You see that?
Yeah.
So
you got a big time quarterback coming back. I mean, I could see Kentucky's a juicy little value pick. You might want to if you got an extra bone to throw on it, go ahead and take your shot at Kentucky.
Yeah. South Carolina, 100 to 1 odds. If you throw 100 down on there, you get a crap ton back.
Yeah.
Are they going to win it? Probably not, but I like Beamer's offense a lot, and he's got him a quarterback now. So little rattler action takes the SEC by storm. I don't know. That'd be fun.
And they added some cool pieces. They added some cool pieces on through the portal. You got two good what I think could be two really good wide receivers that you added. And then you got Rattler. I think he added a couple offensive linemen too. So maybe you never know. This is cool because I think Shane Beamer could be a good South Carolina could be a good template for how to quickly turn around a team using the portal, because I feel like a lot of those guys they're gonna be starters for sure. Like they're gonna
bring key pieces that were with you at the old school.
That or exactly.
It's crazy that we didn't get one Boise transfer, right? Like,
one of them got drafted, and the one that we really needed got drafted. Shakir, I said that from the
receiver.
Yeah, he was so good.
He was hired. Like, man, what is this? This is a 1,000-yard receiver. Come play for Harsin. I mean,
exactly.
That's just wild. With so much Boise that he brought with him, none of his players came with him. And I'm not saying to read into that too deep. It's just wild to me because that's not really happening anywhere else.
Especially when a guy goes up, or you know what I mean. It does seem like. I mean, what's his name that went to USC? I mean, how many dudes came over there? Right, Lincoln Riley took a bunch of dudes with him. I mean, we could have used.
And obviously, we saw a bunch of folks go with Gus. Like, it's just weird to me that not even one of them followed him.
Yeah, crazy. That is strange. That is strange. Maybe there was some kind of, he had a lot of respect for Boise. That's his home school and hometown guy, and he just didn't.
I don't want to hear that. He took the whole coaching staff with him.
Yeah, but that's sort of understood. This taking players is sort of a new thing to me. That's sort of like
that's fair.
That's a new thing. I'm sure Chris Peterson took a bunch of dudes to Washington with him too. You know what I mean? And they would worship that guy. So.
That's fair.
I don't know about that, but
I get it. I get it. It's still an interesting conversation nonetheless. All right. Hey, in just a moment, Julian Phillips announces later today, if you're watching on or listening on Thursday. You're listening to Locked On Auburn. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day, as we are joined by Auburn message board legend Charlie 5. Julian Phillips has a chance to be one of the highest rated recruits in Auburn basketball history.
Yes.
He's announcing Thursday afternoon at 2:00 Central Time. And it really seems like it's Auburn, Tennessee, or he met with the G League recently. And that's got Auburn folks kind of having flashbacks to Jalen Green and others. So
and multiple others.
Right.
You could take a G League team and make a pretty badass Auburn basketball team based on guys that we thought we were going to land. But I felt really good about him this whole time. And it's sort of, I'm sort of at a point where, based off just the things I'm hearing, the things people are saying, it could go anyway. I kind of feel like it's going to be college. I kind of feel like it's going to be, Tennessee or Auburn. Hey, by the way, if you look at G League salaries, they're not very competitive.
NIL, NIL.
Some of the NIL deals.
Right.
And Tennessee apparently is ready to just go nuts on NIL to get this kid. Like this, they're desperate. They're desperate for this kid. You look at guys that they've put in the league. Most of them, how many really true one and dones have they done a whole lot with? I mean, Bruce has the track record. I just feel like we have a lot of the things that he needs to maximize his potential. And I feel like we're the spot, and I'm a homer as well, but I really do. I think it's a coin toss. I'll say this.
Okay.
If he does not commit to Auburn today, I would not panic. I would not panic in the least, because there's still some guys out there that could be there, or not could be there, that are there via transfer portal, via guys that may not be in the portal yet that we could get that could be just as good. And I'm just not. I never worry about the roster when it comes to Bruce. I don't really worry about it at all. And then the Allen Flanigan thing is still a wild card too. Like, have we ever seen him at 100% health playing his natural position? I'm not sure that we have. He could take a big step forward. I mean, I'm just not really worried about it. Like, let's don't forget about Yohan Trory and Janai Broome. Like, don't forget about those guys that we just added at the 4 and 5. Like, those are elite. Those guys will be drafted next year. Like, they're that good. So don't freak out. I still think we have just as good a shot as anybody.
Are the dates different, Charlie 5, for basketball?
I don't think they're on the same. Yeah, I don't think basketball's on the same thing. And there's some guys also that are in the portal, that declared for the draft that could still come back. So there's those guys too. You know, Tevin Brown the Twitter Auburn hero, like that. He's a guy that could get his status, get his grade back, decide to come back to college. Like, there's guys like that. Keon Ellis, there's another one from Alabama that there's been some communication with. He said he's going to the draft. Like, there's guys out there. There's going to be guys out there. Like, we're going to get somebody. We're not going into the year without supplementing someone at the 3.
I also think you could go into the year with this current roster and be fine.
You could, but you do need. I've harped on it for a while. Like, I really do think you need at least one elite scoring wing, like either a Julian Phillips or a proven transfer scoring wing player that can play the 3, maybe even the 2 if need be. And maybe
because they're not going to start.
Well, it just depends. They're not gonna be guaranteed.
You think there's a world where Allen Flanigan does not start next year?
Yeah, if Julian Phillips comes, Allen Flanigan's not starting next year.
There is no way Allen does not start next year. I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I'm just saying I don't believe it'll happen. I think Phillips.
I do.
On the table than Allen. I'm 100% with you on that. I just do not think Bruce would not start Allen Flanigan. I just don't think it would happen.
Well, I don't think Bruce is going to. Let's say this. I don't think Bruce is going to start anybody that's not going to give him the best chance to win. In one form or fashion, he's not going to start somebody. I don't see Bruce playing daddy ball. He didn't even do it with his own son. And he was that played for him. Like, I don't see.
No, I get that. I would not be shocked if Phillips got 22 minutes and Allen Flanigan got 19, but I think Allen would start.
I don't see it. I just unless he legitimately beat him out. I don't see it. And maybe that could be the case, but
what do you think? If you're watching on YouTube right now, comment down below.
Yeah.
Who do you want? What do you think would happen? Assuming you're watching this before Phillips commits or even afterwards and he's already committed.
Okay, let me pose it a different way.
Hop in the Locked On Auburn Discord. We'll put a link down below and let's debate that today too. I think that'd be fun.
Let me ask you a question a different way.
Okay.
Do you think Bruce would start Allen Flanigan if he knew Julian Phillips was better? Like, there was no question Julian Phillips is the better player.
I want to differentiate the fact of, like, Bruce will start guys, but they will get less minutes than the guy behind them. Like, I want to clarify this. But I think Allen Flanigan would start and Phillips would average like 2 more minutes a game across the season. That would be my prediction.
Okay. Well, I mean, is that necessarily does that really mean any? I guess what I'm saying is I think
some kids care about that more than others.
Okay. I mean, I guess I can maybe see that scenario, but I think that you're relying on if Julian Phillips comes in, he's going to be relied on to be the guy. Whether he comes in 2 minutes after the game starts or he starts the game, he would be one of the guys. He would be relied on at the 3 to be your scoring 3 that you're going to give the majority of the minutes.
Well, let's think about situations where he's done this before, he being Bruce.
Okay.
Wendell Green had more minutes per game than Zepp this past year, I believe. Definitely towards the last half of the season, but I think over the whole course of the season, I think that was the case. What's another example where that's happened? What about didn't Macklemore get more minutes than Wiley, even though Wiley started?
I can't see. I don't. I guess I haven't.
I think I'm right on that.
You might be. I guess we're really putting stock into the words, the word starter. I guess we're really waiting. Where I'm just looking at. I guess I'm just looking at it from who's going to be the guy, who's the dude at that position. No matter who, when they do the jumping around and the highlight intro, the starting five, like I don't put a whole lot of stock into that. Who's going to be the guy you're relying on to be the guy? And I think the dude is going to be one at the three.
But you would have put a lot of stock into it if you're an 18-year-old kid deciding where you're going to play.
Maybe
I sure would have. Now my mindset would be like, I don't care. Like it's all about winning. But when I was 18, I wanted to be the dude. I wanted to be the guy that's like, and now at forward, like whatever.
Okay. Now that I think about this, there is zero chance Allen would start if you get Julian Phillips. Because think about this. Okay. What you just said. Julian Phillips is a one and done guy. Julian Phillips is a one and done guy. What's more valuable to your program long term? Churning out NBA, putting kids in the league. Now, with Julian Phillips going out on the court first, will that help his stock? No, it's his play on the field. It's his play on the court. But would saying you'll be in that starting lineup that says here's your starting five, would that help get him here? That may be the case. When I go back and think about this, I just don't see. First of all, I don't see Julian Phillips being a guy that's like, yeah, I'm cool being second fiddle, even if I'm going to play more minutes. He's coming here like, I'm going to be a part of the team. I'm going to play defense, but I'm going to score and I'm going to go in the draft and make millions of dollars. I think he would be your starter if we land him. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I
hope he commits and I hope he starts at the 3. I think that would be electric. I think it'd be very exciting. The fact that Allen's dad is on the staff makes this a little awkward, right? Or do you think you're able to remove that? I don't think you can fully. I think you can get close, but I still think there's some kind of, I still think there's a dynamic there that makes this a little hairy.
I just don't think Allen's not going to play. I don't think Allen's not going to play, and I don't think Allen's going to he's not going to have a huge drop in the minutes that he's going to get. So he's still going to get all the same opportunities. But it just is what it is. It is what it is. It's a lottery pick. I mean, it's a freaking lottery pick. Like you're going to start your lottery pick. If you get a lottery pick, you are going to start him. Period. And I see a better chance of Jalen Williams starting over Troy than I do Flanagan starting over Phillips. Chew on that. I see a better chance that Jalen Williams
it's the same situation, right?
I'm just saying, because he's made statements. He's never made a statement, I'm ready to build the offense around Allen Flanagan. He said, I'm ready to build the offense around Jalen Williams. Now he didn't know that Will Wade was going to be fired and Troy was going to be available, but he did say that. So and Jalen has been loyal, and so is Allen, but Jalen has sat there and sort of waited. So I could see a scenario where that would be a more likely thing to happen than the other. I just think Phillips is one of the, probably other than Jabari, will be your second best player that we've ever seen at Auburn if we get him. And there's no way you don't start that kid. There's just no way.
When you put it that way, right? The biggest note that I can't believe this hasn't come up yet, and we'll wrap up the show with this. Allen Flanagan is a Guthrie's athlete. I mean, that guy is sponsored by Chicken Fingers. Like, that matters.
Huge, dude.
I mean,
and
name Guthrie's is elite. That guy's got the sauce. You know what I'm saying? He's a sauce.
Absolutely.
How can people find you, hear you, support you, all that good stuff, buddy?
Find me on Twitter at _Charlie_5, auburnlive.com, the corner message board, in the Locked On Auburn Discord every single day, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the Dad Bod Golf Live.
Follow me on Twitter at Zac Blackerby. And thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. For your second listen, go check out our friend Chris Gordy with Locked On SEC. We'll be back tomorrow right here on Locked On Auburn. See ya.